the announcement is this. I'm going to be doing a Google Hangout next Friday, not today, but next Friday. And that particular Google Hangout will be focused on primarily one thing. I'm asking everyone to bring their own personal rap to this particular Google Hangout.
I'm going to expose myself on YouTube. I'm going to make a YouTube video embarrassing myself.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, I got to tell you about the fabulous, most groovy
G-Man.
You know you're breaking the law right now.
I will stomp a mud hole in you, sir.
I am not playing Dragnauct.
My name is G-Man.
You got the audacity. You're going to jail. You got the audacity.
My name is G-Man.
You got the audacity. That's all I got to say. You got the audacity. I sold $3,000. You got the audacity. You got the audacity. Because you don't got no evidence.
My name is G-Man. My name is G-Man.
No big business that I mean.
My name is G-Man. My name is G-Man.
You can't beat me in fighting. You can't beat me in chemistry. You can't beat me in biology. You can't even walk better than me. You can't outrun me. Dude, you can't even out-talk me.
My name is G-Man.
You got the audacity. That's all I got to say. You got the audacity. I sold $3,000. You got the audacity. You got the audacity. Because you don't got no evidence.
My name is G-Man. My name is G-Man.
No big business that I mean.
My name is G-Man. My name is G-Man.
You can't beat me in fighting. You can't beat me in chemistry. You can't beat me in biology. You can't even walk better than me. You can't outrun me. Dude, you can't even out-talk me.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Preaching to the Choir Ministries.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Preaching to the Choir Ministries. Hello. How are y'all doing? Let me double check. I always forget to check this because I don't hit my mic until we're ready to go, obviously. Yep, and it's at 75% again. Don't know why. All right. Y'all should hear me a lot better now. Yeah, a lot better. Like a lot. So there's been some fun posts. There's a few people who told me about this guy finding a picture of me and making one of his posts, and I had actually shared it already to to the community tab. So if y'all don't know what I'm talking about, I'll show you. It's the same area I went to yesterday. So yes, that's a picture of me. Where's his picture? It's on Facebook. It's on the Dragnauct fan page YouTube thing. And you can kind of see here, if you click on it, he Googled my name. You Google Dragnauct, and that's one of the things that comes up. So yeah, this is me in an elevator with some mixed drink. I think I was at Lake Charles because it was the weekend that I was spending with Mama Drag and a few of my little brothers. I don't think all of them were there. There's a few of them. I don't remember how many. There's a few of my little brothers there. And so, yeah. And I'm guessing I'm not sure why he needed to find this picture of me, but I mean, whatever, right? It's, there are other pictures of me where I have funny facial expressions. I feel the need to like remind people about something about me. I'm not obligated to like the same people that you like. If you like me and another content creator, do not feel that you have to, like you're obligated to dislike people that I don't like. Please do not adopt my grievances. My issues with people are typically personal, and they're based on my set of, idiosyncrasies and all that kind of stuff and everything and whatnot and everything and whatnot. So that needs to be said, because there's a part of me. I'm actually planning on making just kind of like a drag rants video where I talk about toxic creators. I'm going to throw myself in there too. Or toxic behaviors, I should say, because it doesn't matter this, the Steve side and the other side and this side and these weird little internet faction wars that people are a fan of. There is no like Dragnauct side other than, well, Dragnauct with himself. Like there's this idea that I have an actual like cabal in somewhere, and talking to Dead Kennedy in space as kind of an interesting practice, because he's one of those people who thinks that the Dragoon thing is something that people take seriously. It's a joke, and so he is not in on the joke, as well as many others. So, but what can you do? I've just kind of noticed a pattern with people who follow Steve and have their head up their asses. Not as a consequence of following Steve, it's just that people who are not that smart typically follow Steve and defend him. Coincidence, I'm sure. Other than that, people who claim to be skeptics and rational thinkers and all this other bullshit, I'm constantly shown time and time again that people who use those terms kind of unironically on a regular basis typically aren't as rational as they think they are. In fact, some of them are more prone to concoct conspiracy theories just out of nothing and then get upset when people challenge them. One of the reasons, because people have heard me say time and time again, I'm not a real big fan of Unirock. One of the reasons why, and I'll be very obvious, very, very plain with this, is that he concocts shit out of nothing. And so, hypothetically speaking, if you take an out of context quote from someone in the middle of a discussion and they're being facetious and concoct an entire conspiracy out of it without actually talking to the other person or knowing the context, you look fucking stupid. So, being that this actually recently motherfucking happened, and that the person that Dick was talking to was like, what? No, that's not what the fuck you said. It's amazing to me, because then that you unintentionally start misleading other people into believing things. And so this is kind of, like I said, it's very recently, where if you have not known that Nick Suter and I have actually communicated on more than one occasion, and he and I are quite amicable. Actually, I've been on in his live chat for In Time, and give him a few tips here and there. But it's one thing to shit on people, but do it because that there's something that's actually there. You know what I mean? Don't just because it's convenient for a narrative. Don't just throw shit out there.
The most toxic people are the geek room, just a bunch of fat nerds and a media controller. Get it because of Sam. Folks, it's not a baby carrot.
Well, it may be a baby carrot. I don't know. It may be. But there's that's a small gripe that I have, but it's not just him. I just use Unirock as an example because he's been mentioned. Drag, I want you to come on, man. Yeah, I know you don't like me too much, man, but I know you want to. I mean, it's less about it's more about I think how people have integrity, and it's not to say that he doesn't. I think that there are hiccups in his reasoning that need to be addressed.
I claim to be neither skeptic nor atheist. I claim to be a petty, vindictive witch. Can't use what I wanted to use like Shani.
Well, I mean, that's fair. That's fair. At least you don't smell like truffles. Or excuse me, taste like truffles. That's disturbing. But I do find it interesting that the same people who are criticizing others for their lack of due diligence relied upon them at some point in time when they've not changed anything about how they go about investigating claims. It's really interesting. But one of the other things that I've kind of observed is this weird way that certain creators will feed off of their subscribers, almost leaning upon them for emotional support, and that to me is a certain level of intimacy that I think could swing either way and possibly contribute to how bad things get here if you are just feeding up, because there's over 100 something y'all watching right now. Maybe 3 of y'all actually know me and know who I am, and so if I am trying to derive my self-esteem or self-image and affirmation from people that I don't know, right, that's not good. That's really not good, because you don't actually know who I am. I don't know who you are. We've not had time to build a rapport with one another to establish that your image of me, or who you think I am, is an actual representation of who I am as a person. And oftentimes people have me fucked up. So I can't look at me through someone else's eyes. I can only presume what people view, right? But then again, it's only going to be a fraction of whatever content I decide to put out. And so I try to at least have a little bit of balance to speak earnestly about things that I observe and my perspective, and as articulated as best I can. And then be open. This is very, 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 very important. Be open to correction, and not simply get defensive when people disagree with you in chat to the point that you have to turn on members only mode because the chat's being flooded with trolls or spammed with trolls, and then misread comments from people who are subscribed and members of your channel, and then get even more defensive. Yeah, it's not a good look. So I think that there's some responsibility on the side of us content creators, even when I'm reviewing this idiot here, so that things don't go awry. There's a reason why there's talks now of a motherfucker who just allow things to happen and encourage people to go and do whatever the fuck they want to, ever so tacitly. And I know that's going to be ignored, but that's fine. It's important. It's important that even if you are dedicated to lambasting someone, that you have a left and right limit, and that you surround yourself with people who remind you about where those limits are or should be. And the reason why Steve is being sued right now is because he's surrounded himself with people who are enablers. That's why. That is exactly why he's in this. It's him, right? And there are other people. He's not the only one. But having enablers and people to coddle you are how things go awry. And so, as much as people like to try and compare what I do here to Steve, there have been numerous times where I've told people that there's a limit. Leave this dude alone. He's threatened litigation forever, but that he's been doing that for about 5 years now. That is a default that he goes to when he has no other course of action until he comes up with something else. That's why you've stopped hearing about that, and that he's come up with a new plan on the pre-trials. Where do y'all think pre-trials came from? It's another brainchild of his, because the threats of litigation weren't working. It's a pattern. So, somebody was asking, stop using big words. No. But I gotta learn, people in real life are not mostly leaning on random people on the internet. Yeah, Somebody was asking, Drag gets affirmation from the hot waitress at the Crab Shack. Don't put my business out there, man. That's not nice. That's not nice. But Drag, if you don't get affirmation from people on the internet, where do you get it from? That's actually an excellent question. That is an excellent question. It starts with yourself. It has to start with you finding it within yourself to have a positive self-image, and that is a struggle. I say it like it's nothing, but that's something that takes years to develop. And I could use myself as an example. I did not have a positive self-image for many, many years until, hell, not even after high school. After I joined the military, kind of, sort of, and then as, I go through my early to mid-20s, I finally got to that point that I have positive self-image. But finding your niche, finding where you have great skill, talent, and the ability to enrich and edify other people in their lives, I think is something that people can latch onto. Now, having the ability to walk into a university and have people with PhDs stop and want to talk to me, that's pretty good affirmation. That's honestly where I get mine from. It feels good. It feels good that I can do that and not just stand in the office of people with PhDs. I'm sorry, that never gets old. But no, that it is. I've been on billboards, right? I've been on all types of shit. So I have affirmation based on the some of the things that I've done, and I'm good. Like, I don't need internet affirmation. That's why it's funny. If some of you who've actually watched the video on Patreon and some of you who are channel members who got to see the video where G-Man was asking me why I need to put him down, because in G-Man's mind, if you denigrate somebody, then you have to have a negative self-image, and you have to be or you have to be insecure, I think was the word he used, in order to make fun of somebody, which is not true, right? There are plenty of people who aren't insecure and who have great self-image that can point out bullshit. But in his mind, that's how it works. I thought that was really, really interesting. But it may just be bullshit. It's hard to tell with this guy. Really hard to tell. Ask questions Joe think answer because you're saying it's super important. Yeah, no, I think it's important to say that, because I am going to actually sit down and read over all the silly names and stuff in the Kyle GoFundMe thing. Actually, I need to take a picture of that or something. I'm going to go through and I'm going to talk a little bit about that. And if you have questions about why I don't care for this creator or that creator, I'll let you know and be very, very honest. But it's not something that I think, and don't put too much stock in, well, Drag doesn't care for that. There's a lot of people who don't care for me because I use too much profanity, because I think they say I think that I'm better than everybody. That's actually kind of true, but still, like, there's lots of reasons why people don't like me in much of the same way. I'm not a big fan of Katie Joy. Like, y'all know I'm not a big fan of fucking Kyle, right? But I'll still get thrown in here, even though I can separate my personal distaste for a person and still acknowledge how fucked up it is for somebody to call this chick's husband's job and 40 times and leave death threats. Like, it doesn't matter how much I don't like someone. I don't like this cat here, but there's a limit. And so people get so invested into this internet bullshit that they lose perspective. And that's why when I see some of the comments on Twitter and some of the screenshots people will send me where 62 IQ and what's that, they call him Dickus, and I don't give a shit what they say about me. I know what goes on in their real life, and it is sad. They're pathetic. Now, when I say that, it's not me just shitting on them just to shit on them. There's literally nothing that they can say that's going to impact me, because I don't derive my self-esteem or any type of affirmation from any of this internet stuff. None of it. I don't care. It's interesting to talk about because it's such a foreign concept to me, but I know people who are impacted by it, and that dynamic there fascinates me, and so then it becomes a topic of discussion. But you'll notice a trend that people who don't have that affirmation in real life are really heavily invested in this internet shit. This guy is a good example. He's a perfect example of someone who is completely invested in this internet bullshit, in their e-fame, and their who cares? Who cares? I would rather spend my time doing something that only some of y'all know that I do, which is I help people with their education. And there's a few people I've already helped out that some of y'all may or may not know about, but that's what I actually do. And it's not just me. It's a few other people that some of y'all have no idea that are helping others with their education. And that's important to me. That's very important because I got help with my education. So that's a part of me paying it forward. And it's actually a part of the legacy that Jade West left, because she was heavily invested in people going back to school. In fact, many of the discussions that she and I had helped me through 2, 3, 4 of my courses, So it is it's interesting when you sit down and think about it. Yeah, you know what? It's cool to give people laughs, and yeah, I get a few emails every so often that, you know what, COVID's been really shitty. You know, watching your videos are really, really cathartic, and I appreciate that. You know, that is nice. I do this for me, but you know, if it helps somebody else, that's great. But that's the stock that I put in for helping people or deriving some type of affirmation from through online activities is helping folks with their education. Like that's where I'm at. If you're talking shit about, you know, me saying that I don't like the way that you write, okay, fine, who cares? I'm just what did one guy call me? I'm a bum in a lab coat. All right, like that's cool, man. Like that is great that you think about that. That just, it inflates my ego when I see people mad because I said something. But anyway, that's a preview to the video that I'm going to do eventually when I read through all those silly ass names. I'm actually surprised how fast Kyle got all that money. But then again, Steve has fucked over quite a lot of people. I'm on my phone right now. And somebody wants to see that video. Oh, I know who this is. Okay. I see. We learn about the president of Europe. Yeah. I've wanted to do D-Roy's recent video, but I've not sat down and listened to it all, and I know I need to sit and listen to it in its entirety before I review it, because here's what's going to happen. If I, off the cuff, respond to D-Roy's video, I'm going to say some things that are very, very harsh. I already know, because I've already started listening to it when I was in the car heading to get a massage. And yes, the massage places are open here in Texas. And out of the one of the few things that brings me a lot of joy, other than my family, getting massages. I fall the fuck to sleep. So I went and got a massage the second they opened up, and I was listening to D-Roy on the way, and man, he's just, oh man, I have a lot to say, but I'm at the wait. It's really awesome. Drives really important, helping some gas situation, equalize my generation first to go to college. Yeah, it's a lot of people. A lot of people don't know the true value. Actually, speaking of which, the stream I was on last night was about that.
You helped me learn about the president of Europe and his hands. Did you hear Eminem's diss to Joe Budden?
No, I did not know that Eminem was dissing Joe Budden. That's going to be interesting. That's one dude I'm not sure I want to get in a fucking rap battle with or have a beef with. I mean, but you know, hey, hopefully it'll be more interesting than Eminem and Machine Gun Kelly. Hopefully it'll be more interesting than that. Or who was it? It was Nick Cannon and somebody else. No, I think it was Nick Cannon and Eminem, which was weird. Really. No. Anyway. All right. So we finally get to, how long have I been just sitting here talking? I could have just saved all that for the fucking video. I don't know how long I've been live. There's something over here that tells me. Throw Budden, yeah. The Psychology of Atheism, Part 2. Part 2. Bad upbringings. Okay, so G-Man, I thought, was going to go over how people were raised to be shitty people, and they just so happen to be atheists. That's what I was under the impression of. But no. He's talking about something different, and which I can't necessarily fault him for, because I see what he's saying here. Now, hear me out. When people deconvert, because I know there's quite a few of y'all are actually Christian, or y'all have some theistic beliefs. I have a pretty diverse audience. If you don't know, I've just been sitting here talking for 30 minutes. God damn, I need to shut the fuck up. uh, when a lot of people, in the US at least, deconvert, they go through the angry atheist phase, is what I call it. So for about 2 years, it's watching zeitgeist, it's watching religious, it's, consuming a lot of media, not a whole lot of reading. But, if they do, they might pick up the God delusion, stuff like that. Kind of the stereotypical, things that people attribute to an atheist. Did I get a new room massage? No, I wish. Those are awesome. But after that, they start to kind of calm down. I want to say it's roughly 2 years. Because a lot of people believe that they've been intentionally lied to when that's not the case. And I can speak from personal experience. And so once they sort of mellow out and realize, no, people who raised you, your parents, grandparents, whoever, used a vehicle to instill morals and values within you, and it just so happened to be using religion, then they kind of calm the fuck down just a little bit. And so throughout that time, you can be ingratiated into different atheist communities. Now, depending on which one you are surrounded with, it will make you or break you. So it is interesting for G-Man to talk about this because this is an actual thing. You can be cultured into being part of an atheist community.
Freedom.
Eminem beat Nick Cannon without saying a word. It is not a full track, it is the original. Verse Eminem had for Bang with Conway the Machine.
Oh, I'm going to have to go back and listen to it. But I've seen this happen. I've seen people who come on the scene and they're raring to go and they're getting ready to put down some religious nonsense and they're saying shit like religion's a mental illness. And so if you get you get around too many other people like that, that sort of nonsense will be ingrained. And so people can tell you that's a terrible argument. Stop saying that. But if you are around the right people and they're like, no, that's not the right way to go, right? We can tackle this issue. How about we study some philosophy? You know what? Let's focus on epistemology. Let's focus on meta-ethics. Let's focus on stuff like that rather than these labels and these mantras, because you don't become better as a person just because you're on the opposite side of the coin. You're using the same ridiculous logic as the people that you're trying to lambast. So you can be brought up wrong or brought up bad in that respect. And yeah, forbidden fruit is a perfect example of somebody like that. And I think that G-Man could be onto something if he actually focused on that instead of these weird videos from someone else that he plays and not actually deferring to his experiences. So he could make a great argument. This video could be an eye-opener if he would use specific examples, just using his own interactions. That's because he's been on here a while, mind you. But this is where he fails.
Show me your moral code. Show me your morality. You're quick to call somebody else a liar. The question is, are you a liar?
So actually, funny thing, if you go to Deviant Lulu's channel, I think it was about a week ago, Suck Account actually laid out his moral framework for G-Man. He actually did do that and explained why. This was done recently, and he still cannot articulate it.
You're quick to say somebody's a thief. The question is are you a thief? And when you begin to think that way, and you start being intellectually honest with yourself, and you go to the book of Romans here, in this Bible that you believe in and that you know is accurate and true, you just hate it. Okay? And when we go to the book of Romans, chapter 3, verse 23, it says, for all, let me show you this here, because this is the part you knuckleheads don't get. Right there. Romans 3:23. For all have sinned and has fallen short of the glory of God. And you know this. You're a sinner.
You know
just
this,
like
man.
I am. What part of that are you not getting?
Okay, he still doesn't know. He still does not know how to use quotation marks. These are just used for emphasis, evidently, and syllables, I guess. I don't know. We're just going to keep doing this because I've seen other people doing it.
The same way you can point your finger at me and say, G-Man, you lie. Okay, so do you. What's your point? Do you?
Yeah, this is childlike. This is really, really childlike. G-Man, you lied. Okay, well, where did I lie? Here, where you said someone had committed adultery. Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, I was angry. I was angry. I was pissed off. I just said it out of anger and spite. Okay, cool. All right, the end. That's not how that's how an adult would do that. Like, that's how an adult would address that, right? But a child would go, "Nuh-uh, but Billy, you too." But just to play the game, right? Where have I lied, motherfucker? Y'all heard him say 50,000 times that I keep lying about him. How often have y'all heard him actually mention what the lie was? Right? This is a way for him to absolve himself from responsibility. And that's why I said G-Man is, I don't think that he's actually trying to be a Christian. I think that he likes the idea of what Christians represent, but the religion itself allows him to hide behind this notion that it's okay when he is a shit person. He'll just make up for it later. He'll just be absolved from it because everybody else is on the same level. Everyone else is on like lateral to him. So if he goes and stabs somebody because he's upset because he didn't get enough subscribers, and this other person pushed a guy attacking his wife, they're the same thing. They both attack someone, right? Same thing to him. And you'll see him try to level the playing field because in his mind, that's how shit works. That's how shit works. Now, mind you, if somebody were to play that game with him, well, that's okay, G-Man. You know what? Vecco insulted me, so let me punch you in the throat. So now everybody's hurting. Hurt is hurt, right? He wouldn't like that shit.
You have a point for even bringing this up. Well, you're a horrible person, then so are you. What's your point? Like, honestly, I'm busy. I got things to do with my life. What?
No, you don't. That is a lie.
What's your point? Say something deep so I can think and move on with my life. Because if you don't, then you ain't saying nothing. So what is the point in a godless worldview that says that you're a thief or that you steal or you're this or you're that or whatever? You're immoral. Let's just say immoral. In the atheist worldview, why does that matter? When I die.
Oh, okay. It's a good question. So why does it matter being a thief and a liar? Well, you're going to be a social pariah. People aren't going to deal with you. If that's not necessarily true, actually. Oh man, Kyle. That's not. I had to stop myself right there. Usually people will fuck with you. Usually, but it's this shit that goes on recently really makes you rethink your positions on shit. It really does. But I have to be honest. I have to be honest because generally, if you are a thief and a liar, people won't fuck with you. Generally, but circumstances can be such that people will give you another chance. They will forgiveness, or they just will. They'll just deal with you out of spite of another person that you don't like and they don't like. So it depends. It is situational. One of the objectives, I guess you could say, of the trolley problem is just so kind of how variable things can be, and it can change the outcome ultimately, or potentially. And I think that that's something that G-Man can't appreciate, which is ironic because he said that he wanted something deep to think about. The conversations that he had mentioned before, where people were talking about, using rape as an example, for the greater good, or whether it being ultimately good or ultimately bad. Those were those type of conversations, but he didn't get anything from it. He didn't understand it because, well, he's not that bright. Vaporwave Joe says he has stuff to do. No, no, you don't, bro, boy. No, you're right. He doesn't. He does this shit all day.
I'm going to be fertilizer. Who cares? You understand what I'm saying? Your worldview is meaningless. It is hopeless. It is nonsense. If I was an atheist, I practice these things all the time without a drop of guilt. You want to know why? Because a real atheist doesn't believe that any of these things are wrong. Because, you know, this is
a real atheist. Now we're getting to this weird no true atheist fallacy.
Fairy tales.
Oh, I'm getting notification on my phone. Just in case y'all don't know, we got some hospitals here in Houston that are at capacity. There was somebody who was turned away. A new admission was turned away, and they had appendicitis. Just so some of y'all realize what's going on here. How do I know that? Well, I just so happen to have a doctor that works over in West Houston who's a friend of mine, and he's been relaying to me what's going on. So yeah, things are getting pretty dire.
You people are lying to yourselves on a regular,
and I'm still going to get lobster biscuit
basis. And again, I'm talking to all the atheists out there. You're lying to yourself when you try to sit there and convince yourself that God isn't real. So you guys like to come on here and bring up, did you hear what this person said, what this person? When you come to my YouTube channel, I'm going to deal with the real you. I'm going to deal with your soul. I'm going to deal with your spirit. I don't care about what you think about my hat and how I wear my hat and how I speak when I talk and how I can't spell. I don't care about that. Yes, what I care about is just your hypocritical nature, where you guys go around saying that somebody's a liar, and you lie yourself on a regular basis. In fact, not only do you lie, you get together in your discords and
they get together in the Discord. People get so mad about the Discord. Hawktie says G-Man just admitted that he has no moral compass. He just admitted to wanting to steal, beat, rape, whatever he wants, and he's too afraid to do these things because he's watched by God. Interestingly enough, Hawktie, the second part of the video, the second part of the video that I put up, where I was talking to him on Skype, he actually admitted that's something he wanted to actually come to my house and physically assault me. Like, that's something that he had been fantasizing about for a while. But you know what? I'm so lucky that his God was watching him, and that would have been a big no-no. So, yeah. Oh no, and it's not even a veiled threat. No, he makes it very clear that he was planning to come harm me.
You plan on how you're going to lie about somebody. That's how bad it is. Who's going to get the worst condemnation? Somebody who lies in the moment, or the person who's actually plotting and planning on their lying and scheming to deceive as many people as possible to believe the lie that's coming out of their mouth? That is a far worse person than anybody out there. You call true empiricism a horrible person. You guys spent the better part of a year calling him that. 2 years, actually. You tried doing it with Veckel.
Wait, what? Oh.
And scheming to deceive as many people as possible to believe the lie that's coming out of their mouth. That is a far worse person than anybody out there. You call true empiricism a horrible person. You guys spent the better part of a year calling him that. Okay,
so yeah, 2 years.
2 years, actually.
Okay, 2 years. Now, calling him a horrible person and what? Because I'm trying to remember. The only thing that I can remember that lasted 2 years was true empiricism and his claim about DNA, dissolving in water. That's the consistent thing that I remember. Other than the fact that true empiricism actively makes up shit. Like it's not even funny how often video after video had to be made where true empiricism would make a false claim, someone would call it out, and then he would deny it and then say that, no, you were making the false claim, when people were clearly watching and heard and could turn on closed captioning. And you can see it even in Scholar Fiction's recent last exchanges with him, right? True empiricism does not have a strong grasp of reality, it seems. Or he reflexively lies like, gee, man, I don't know which. I'm not in his fucking head. But I don't think that True is a horrible person. I think he's a shitty person for lying so fucking much. But I don't think that he's a horrible person. No, I think you are a horrible person. I've never really heard True go out and try and dox people. I've never really heard him try to go and threat. Like, he challenged me to a fight. That's the closest thing, but whatever.
G-Man casts Shield of Faith, giving him resistance to criticism, scrutiny, and responsibilities.
Especially parental ones. But it's, no, I don't think True Empiricism is a horrible person. I think he's silly, but I don't think he's horrible.
You tried doing it with Veckel because you don't agree with his political views.
No, well, some of his political views are pretty fucking funny. I don't think that he's a horrible. If he was that horrible, I'd fucking shit on him more often. But no, I don't. I recently talked to him about his political views, and I just think he's ignorant. I think he's uneducated, but I don't think he's horrible. So it's interesting. Anytime that there's a criticism about G-Man, he likes to spread that criticism around, right? If he's a victim, everyone's a victim.
What, he's not allowed to have his own individual political views? Then if he can't have his, you can't have yours.
Sweaty. Just greasy looking.
You say that God isn't real, then you're acting like one.
How is that acting? What?
When you try to sit there in the seat of your throne and sit there and say, well, thus saith the atheist, this person's a horrible person. Based on what? Based on my own godliness.
Who the fuck says that? So, okay, let me try this. I, Dragnauct the Dragon Lord, proclaim G-Man to be a horrible person because he has actually threatened me with physical violence more than once. There we go. So saith the Dragon Lord. Is that what you want, G-Man? Like, there are things that you do and say that make you horrible. Again, I don't think True is a horrible person. I don't think Antonio's a horrible person. I don't think Veckel's a horrible person. I don't even think Tommy Hall is a horrible. Well, let me save Tommy for another time. But I think that's something I specifically reserve for you because we have videos of you like doing horrible stuff and saying horrible things.
On my own opinion. When you hear me say something about somebody, I'm appealing to the freedom.
If life was like D&D, G-Man has rolled a 1 at everything in life.
You should just keep re-rolling his character and hope for better parents.
Scriptures. I'm appealing to Christ. I'm appealing to Almighty God. I'm not appealing to what I think. Who cares what I think?
That's a good point. Who cares what you think?
With my worldview. People watch me because they want to know what I'm going to say about this.
That's bullshit. I watch you because you're fucking hilarious. If you're talking about people on your G-Man channel, yeah, I think some of them, they like the way you yell at Black Hebrew Israelites. I think that is something that people find appealing. Outside of that, I don't know about that one, Chief. There we go. I'm trying to find. There we go. That's a good one. I'm all doing all that sucking. There you go.
And how I'm going to represent Christ. Nobody cares what I think of of myself. They might care a little bit, but they don't care about what I think in of itself. What we care about is what.
Well, he stumbled over that bitch like 3 times. Well, hold on for a second. You don't care what people said about your hat and about the way that you speak, but you sure as hell stumbled and tried to correct yourself a few times. Really? It's so weird to hear him say shit like that 5 minutes beforehand and then do shit that corresponds with exactly what the fuck people said about him. Like, come on now. It's just like when he was trying. I'm going to send that Dragnauct to JAIL. Because he didn't want to say jail. Like, come on. And everything and whatnot.
What does Jesus has to say about this? G-Man, and this is my personal favorite one recently. You're going to just destroy your reputation here on YouTube when you do your pre-trials. Not only am I not going to destroy my reputation, I'm going to improve it. Because the atheists don't got the fog. I mean,
remember remember when I said that people are heavily invested in their online personas and their e-fame, and they get affirmation from the shit online? This is what I'm talking about.
Unless you guys became all-knowing and you live outside of time and space and you can see the beginning and the end, for you to tell me what I'm going to do. You don't have the foggiest idea what I'm going to do.
Not the foggiest. Yeah, I actually agree with you. No direction. Yeah, basic requirement to be an adult not met.
You know what I mean? So
I stole $3,000.
stop lying
G-Man with min-max constitution. Really?
to yourselves.
I was gonna go with int.
You know it, and I know it. That God has been knocking on the door of your heart. He's been doing this from day one.
No, I think there's been something knocking on your back doors, but that's another story.
All you've been doing is being gullible and listening to people like Richard Dawkins, Christopher Hitchens, even though he's been dead for some time. You guys, and by the way, where was all of the outrage when I was talking about Hitchens for the last 5 years? Where was all of the outrage about what happened to Hitchens? Nobody said nothing about that.
So this is an interesting kind of point of contention that G-Man has here. And I'm going to elaborate on this for just a second. You wondering, so if y'all can't tell, his face is really wet. This is a combination of, oil on his face, but he's also really sweaty. I don't know if you look at his recent videos, he's really sweaty. There's a fan that he has, I think on the other side of the room that he has to turn on. But yeah, he's really sweaty right now. He gets himself worked up, and then he wears like 3 or 4 layers. I can't relate. But yeah, he is really sweaty. That's why he's not been crying in this, but no, he's the oil, and then he's really sweaty.
No, they have an agenda.
So G-Man's upset. He wants to point out that people were upset with him talking about Jay versus Hitchens. None of us really knew Hitchens. Like, we knew of Hitchens, but none of us knew we didn't have a personal relationship with him. But that tells you, like, that it should be obvious. It should be obvious to G-Man why there's a stronger response for Jade versus Christopher Hitchens, right? Most of you all there who are watching and listening are probably a little perplexed. And I talked about this a bit before, but G-Man, when you hear him reference other people, does he reference their general demeanor? Does he talk about, how tactful they are when they speak? Does he talk about, certain, things that things about their character, right? That you could kind of figure out, that you could build, I guess, maybe a rough archetype of who they are as a person. Or do you hear from G-Man their religious affiliation or lack thereof, and how useful they are to him, right? That's something that I pointed out in my previous video. G-Man can only relate to other people if they are useful to him. He doesn't actually bond and empathize with people at all. Listen to the way that he discusses his relationship with Veckel. Listen to the way he discusses a relationship with True Empiricism, Ken Jones, so on and so forth. Even Von Helton. G-Man he fundamentally does not understand how humans empathize with one another. It's not something that he gets. So when people build rapport with one another, he only views them as alliances because of an agreed upon doctrine or set of beliefs that they have on some level. That's why it's easy for him to presume that Christians who disagree with him, that get along with atheists, are actually undercover agents. They're double agents, They're undercover atheists, because that's how he relates to people he agrees with, because of the underlying beliefs, the accord that they have together. So hopefully that helps some of y'all understand what he's expressing here. Because the rest of y'all who didn't even know Jade could kind of figure out that some of us knew her, personally. Not this guy.
and I'm fully on it. I know what they think I'm gonna do, and I know what they're gonna try to do. But they're gonna get embarrassed when they try to do it.
It was boring.
I won't be the only one in the room.
G-Man is LVL1 Rouge with a 3 in a 4 in with a 6 in Dex, a 3 in STR and 14 con.
Okay, nerd.
That's the thing about it. All right. So, and I got a pre-planned for tomorrow at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. So, stop lying to yourselves about God being immoral. He can't be immoral or moral if he ain't real. Okay?
Yeah, so if evidently we can't evaluate the qualities of fictional characters. Again, something that takes a little bit of thought, a little bit of abstract thinking, something he's not able to comprehend.
You lie to people about us not presenting evidence.
Context. Most people he talked to, he tends to talk to, they ask him for empirical evidence because at one point he claims to be an evidentialist. Okay, cool. But what's convincing the G-Man internally is not convincing the other people. G-Man simply has the belief that a God exists, and he will literally find anything as evidence of it. This remote is evidence. These headphones are evidence. These cigarillos, evidence. Everything that exists is evidence of God to him. And communicating that to other people is not something that he understands, right? Different standards of evidence. He understands the difference between anecdotal versus empirical, but to him, they're the same. It's just one category of the same stuff and the other category of the same stuff, right? Drawing an actual distinction and the ability of one having a bit more power than the other, that dynamic is something that he does not get.
Fingerprints is evidence, right? We both will agree that fingerprints are evidence, right? We will both agree that footprints would be evidence, right? And you know what? Footprints won't necessarily prove that God was there, but it would be considered evidence. When we talk about intelligent design, when we talk about the cosmological argument, we talk about presuppositional apologetics and things like that, and you walk around here and you claim that no one's ever presented anything to you, proves that you are a liar. I have whole Google Hangouts down.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, having evidence that convinces him versus evidence that convinces other people, a little bit different.
Downloaded on this hard drive with you guys planning and plotting on what you're going to say the next time you talk to Side 10 Brudicate, because you didn't know what to say. And it took a Ozzy or it took another person to come in to teach you guys what to say. I'm not stupid. I got your whole history right here. I got a couple of these things with all them videos.
Actually, that's an interesting little blast from the past there. So what ended up happening, and what he's talking about here, for those of you who don't know, is that back when Greg Bonson was being sucked off by every theist who, couldn't be bothered to actually learn philosophy, there was an era in Google Tubes, G+, where the presuppositional argument was the newest, hottest thing on the streets. And so every theist who was worth his weight in salt wanted to get a piece of that and learn how to flip through the note cards and go through the flow chart well enough to pwn an atheist online. And while most of us, including myself, did not actually understand the strength of this argument or what it actually depended on, these conversations were a disaster. In fact, it was actually very frustrating to talk to the person. We call them cyclones because Side 10 Brugengate was the one who popularized it, and so people were being clones of his, so they were cyclones, get it? But what ended up happening is that people like Ozzy made videos where we talked about presuppositionalism, we talked about some of the epistemological background that you need to understand in order to get some of the language used. And so if you start talking about non-dostastic claims and stuff like that, that's not a part of common parlance. You start discussing how God is being characterized in this way, and that how your belief claims are being held. Well, if you've never sat down and thought about it, it's going to be a conversation where someone's walking you through a series of words and labels and shit, and you go, okay, yeah, that kind of sounds right, yeah, whatever. in the meantime, they're not letting you know that there's an entire separate category that you may fall into as far as how you know things. I'm just giving you the basic overview. So G-Man is referencing the fact that people had to learn. How this relates to the topic is a bit ironic because this is an example of good upbringing. And that is why I prefaced the beginning to say some of these non-believers have been ingratiated into communities that involve those who want to keep people honest and want people to learn, and they want to edify other people. And G-Man is describing one such scenario, and I was a part of that. And I'm grateful to have learned quite a bit about epistemology from that, and actually ended up doing pretty well against presuppositionalists. If you know what their game is, if you know just enough epistemology to get the language, to know where you stand as far as your category or whatever, then it's pretty funny to engage with them because they rely on people not understanding that. I'm going to be triggered if Drag mentioned the goddamn epistemological toolkit. That's actually so my use of epistemological toolkit, that's actually a Hogtie Champ reference, believe it or not. That is actually, I think Hogtie mentioned, or he used the illustration of a toolkit in reference to epistemology, and this was years ago, and so I just picked that up to use it as my own because I appropriate things from Canadians and as a way to help communicate what I'm saying that much better, because I think it's a great analogy. Yep, Floyd,
you're not
Bert
fooling
Poole,
nobody.
Malpass, absolutely, they all help as well.
The day of the YouTube atheist is done. If you notice, look at 10 years ago on YouTube. The atheists literally ran this internet. This was theirs. This was their playground. No one could. People struggled when they argue with atheists. People really legitimately struggled when they argue with atheists. The arguments against them is so common knowledge now.
Okay, the atheists on here 10 years ago were terrible. And I was one of them. And I can admit, I can look back. If you go back 10 years and go look at some of the fucking arguments, they're awful. God awful. Now, there were an abundance of atheists here. There's a lot of people deconverting. It's really popular, and so everybody's trying to start their own YouTube channel and all this kind of shit. And this idiot comes on board, and he thinks that if he just yells loud enough, then he'll win. No, the struggles that he's talking about is him trying to learn how to fucking think. Let me give you an example, because of course, Dragnauct's just saying things. He's just talking shit. This is the same guy. The time frame that he's talking about is the same time frame where G-Man literally said that he's going to try to find a way to circumvent logic. Let me reiterate that for you. This is the same time frame. This is the same guy who said that he was going to find a way to circumvent logic, because people kept telling him that the way that he was going about engaging was fallacious. G-Man was a huge fan, and still is, of the No True Scotsman. G-Man's a huge fan of hasty generalizations. G-Man's a huge fan of a number of fallacies. He had said that atheists had created fallacies in logic to confound Christians. These were things that he has said. Some of them he still believes. So the reason he says that is based on his personal experiences. Don't reject that. Don't deny that. He is actually that is right. But what he's not telling you is that he had to learn this stuff, because Christians had to go behind scenes and go, "Hey, no, atheists didn't make that up just now. That's not something they just fabricated. These are actual things that have been around for ages." It's I'm not joking. Ask anybody who was. There's people in the chat who remember him saying shit like this. That video's still around somewhere too, where he says he's going to circumvent logic. That video's still out there. I have to find it, but that's what he's talking about. Okay.
Now, nobody's afraid of these people. Nobody. believe a 12-year-old can defeat you. That is how many times we've heard you guys regurgitate the same old mantra, well, no one's ever provided any evidence. That's not true. Even a 5-year-old kid knows, well, that's not really true. He did present scientific evidence when he talked about the Cologne cosmological argument.
Okay. Now, did you notice a little change in it, what he just said there? No one's presented evidence went to no one's presented evidence, but he just presented scientific evidence for the Kalam cosmological argument.
Freedom! Freedom!
That's weird, I didn't read. Pear character flying in the air with a cape and smile on his face. Oh, I'm guessing that's some type of emoji. I don't know if y'all can see that. I don't, okay. Anyway. I don't know why there was a weird image of pear character flying across the, I just, my mind went blank because there was something I wanted to say. Something, okay.
Any evidence? That's not true.
Okay, I remember it now. Okay, so G-Man's saying that there's scientific evidence being presented for the Kalam cosmological argument. Okay. The Kalam cosmological argument is a philosophical argument, right? If you're going to have empirical scientific evidence, then that's going to be for an evidentialist, right? You're trying to take an apple to make a lemon meringue pie. Is basically what's going on here. That's why you'll hear G-Man just mention these different arguments, the major arguments that he's heard over the years. The Kalam is one of them. The presuppositional argument is one of them. He's referencing them now. How often have you actually seen G-Man employ these himself? You ever think about that? You'll hear him reference, because he just referenced Kalam. How many of y'all, and the Kalam is a pretty simple syllogism, right? How many of y'all have actually listened to G-Man give you the Kalam cosmological argument in the simplest form? Probably not too many, have you? He knows how to reference it, but he doesn't know how to employ it. Okay.
Even a 5-year-old kid knows, well, that's not really true. He did present scientific evidence when he talked about the Cologne cosmological argument in Intelligent Design. How are you trying to sit there and say that he didn't present any evidence? You might not like the evidence. Like for example, the atheists don't even examine the evidence in an honest way. What atheist do you know has ever looked at the ones that converted? That's right. What atheist do you know that's presently in our community that honestly looks at the evidence that Christians present to them for the?
So how would you evaluate that? So if someone presented you evidence for, let's say there's a dragon in my garage, how would you figure out whether or not they investigated it earnestly? I think it's a good question. You can go back to what is it, the Munchausen trilemma, and you ask, well, what constitutes evidence? You can get deep like that. But for G-Man, I am actually curious what he thinks people are supposed to do. What would investigating it honestly even look like to G-Man? Because I know one of the main standard that he has is, you just being convinced by it. But that doesn't necessarily entail that you investigated. That just entails that you change your position. But he equates the two things. You even hear him mention it. So it'd be interesting for him to sit down and elucidate that for us. But I know that I think we all know that that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. G-Man keeps threatening that he will pre-sup you. It's like some sort of wrestling move. Yes, yeah. It's like it. And I think I've used this analogy before. It's a weapon in the armory.
Freedom!
That was supposed to be a silly sticker. Turns out it was crap.
Yeah, don't buy the sticker. It didn't show up. I don't know why. But thank you for the pair with the cape. I'm pretty sure it was very erotic. Thank you.
Existence of God. They can't do that because their hatred, their atheism forces them to make stuff up and to pretend like nobody ever presented anything to them.
Yep. So we're not going to get how we evaluate that. So. $50 says he can't state the premises and conclusion of Kalam. You know what? I'm gonna take that bet. Just put it in super chat.
That is why a lot of their leaders today,
I'm
and
kidding.
leaders, and when I do my documentary,
I'm pretty sure G-Man said the burden of proof is fallacious. Right before Vaughn said emperor penguins are 8 feet tall.
Did he say that recently? Is that it wouldn't surprise me. It actually would not surprise me. But did he actually say that recently? That's funny as shit.
when you're going to learn what a leader is, how a leader leads, and who a follower is. And a lot of you atheists are followers. You're just doing what you've been told. And a lot of you are getting away from the debate scene, and a lot of you have decided that you want to troll.
Okay. Now, I've talked about this a little bit in the past. G-Man is very upset by this. G-Man, during the era that he's talking about, kind of built himself, in such a way that he derives pleasure and affirmation from having these online battles. Now think about this for a second. If your self-esteem, if your self-image is based on specific interactions with specific groups of people, but the specific group of people will not actually interact with you, how do you get that affirmation? Well, he has to mention it here. He has to convince people to continue doing that, because now, what does he have to lean on? This is G-Man trying to goad people into interacting with him. That's why now, all of a sudden, he's opening up his rooms and he wants people to come in, because he can then reference it and he can get that fix. That's why he's doing this. Because why would he care? I've not been having one-on-one conversation with people not like I used to. I used to do it all the time. But no, it's, you know what? It's a different era, different landscape. People grow up, people do different things, and you get over it. But G-Man is still stuck there because guess what? Guess what we talked about at the very beginning?
Freedom! Freedom!
90% of G-Man's homosexual thoughts are of drag. So put on a shirt you are giving G-Man impure thoughts.
Uh-oh.
Very good. Because at some point, you're going to listen to what's being said. You ain't going to be debating no more, meaning you're not going to be fighting back. And it's going to be a point in your life where you're going to have to deal with the words that's coming out of our mouth now. You don't even understand warfare or how war.
Really? I don't understand warfare. Triggered. So triggered right now. So triggered. So I don't understand. I don't understand warfare, G-Man. Is that what you're telling me, my man? Still smells like desperation and sweat. All right, but it's really like, are you serious? Come on, my man. Like, well, so maybe he's talking about a different type of. Maybe he's talking about a different type of warfare. Maybe that's it. Maybe there's an online warfare. I guess I can't even talk shit about that, man. We got fucking motherfuckers doing lawsuits and shit and sending thousands of dollars to somebody because they don't like the other guy. I can't deny that there are battles, but there's warfare. I don't understand. Maybe he means spiritual warfare. I've not been trained in spiritual warfare. I've just been trained on how to save people's lives in a war zone. All right, let's go for it, man. Let's do it.
Warfare is practice and how a person wins it. Because if you did, you would be better prepared for what's going on right now. But you're not prepared because you've been told to put your swords down and just troll. You stop using this. You let somebody else do your thinking for you. Not very smart at all. Not very smart at all.
Well, actually, G-Man, if you were going to conduct a war, you don't go out there and then just do things on your own accord. You have orders, and so you're going to be taking orders from your CO, who takes orders from his command team, which they take orders from another guy sitting at the top. So no, you would just kind of sit back and receive orders and do what you're told. That's literally how militaries work. But anyway, no, I'm sorry, G-Man. You tell me and all the other motherfuckers who actually served in the military at some point in their fucking life how warfare works and how command structures work. You tell us. I'm sorry, G-Man. I apologize for ever doubting your knowledge in the area of fucking warfare. I am so sorry.
But I'm glad that this happened. It makes it easier for me to win you to Christ. If you would confess with your mouth the Lord Jesus Christ and stop playing games with God, believe in your heart that God rose up from the dead, you're going to be saved.
Quit playing games with my tax money and pay your taxes, man. How about that? Quit playing with the IRS and pay your taxes.
And you know what the beautiful thing is? You won't be the only one being saved. If you actually are obedient to Christ, it's a good
So, let's see, Vaporwave Joe said, get a load of Sun Tzu over here.
chance you will win it's a good chance you will win your spouse. It's a good chance you'll win your kids. It's a good chance you'll win your mother, your father, your aunts, and all your other relatives. Because, honestly, do we really want to see our relatives go to hell? No. We want everybody to be saved. And you might be the outlet for that to happen. But you got to stop playing games. And stop being gullible and believing everything that you hear on the World Wide Web.
Gullible? This is the same. Wait, hold on. Wait. Is this the same guy? He's telling people not to be gullible on the World Wide Web. I don't know why I did that and I already had the fucking thing up.
Okay, lady.
Why? Okay. Why? This is the same guy who had a debate with me and brought up a satirical fucking website as evidence because he got the website from the World Wide Web. I'm trying to find it. I think there might have been an issue broadcasting it. Okay, I see my presentation. It's actually a pretty good presentation. Pretty thorough. Oh, okay. Okay. Just so you guys can see. If y'all have not seen this. Okay? Now, y'all heard what G-Man just said. Don't believe everything you've seen on the World Wide Web. Okay? If you've not seen this picture before of the skull, this was from I think a Photoshop contest, if I'm not mistaken, and somebody won some prize for doing this. But it's been circulating around.
Freedom.
He should have given Vaughn this advice about winning kids.
Right? Vaughn might have kept his kids. Y'all see who's he's subscribed to there, right? At the top, G-Man subscriptions. It says Dragnauct Silvers. Yep.
Suggests that there is information out there that would prove that human beings were much taller, older, smarter, and more sophisticated, and that, in fact, in time, that we are actually getting weaker, smaller, and not as smart as we say we are. The second law of thermodynamics, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's the second law of thermodynamics, the law of entropy, how things decline over time.
Okay. That's G-Man, Google Fu, excuse me, and his understanding of the second law of thermodynamics. Things decline over time. All right, so yeah. Oh, thank you, Hogtie, for reminding me. True Empiricism did mention, because there was an after show where G-Man talked about him using a satirical website, because a bunch of people pointed out that I believe it was World News Daily G-Man used. I might be able to actually just find it. And so True Empiricism in fine form use knowledge of philosophy say, no, that's a genetic fallacy to point out the website satire, and you can't use that. It's a satirical website. It's fake, but they're true empiricism, reality. Not on the best of terms, no.
And think a little bit. I ain't trying to be disrespectful, atheists. I don't know the last time I've seen you guys actually do that. I'm just keeping it real. I watch you guys talk to Veckel. I watch you guys talk to what's that guy named Ronan? I watch him talk to Veckel. I watch you guys talk to other Christians on here. I watch you talk to each.
Okay, so if y'all can't see this, this is what G-Man used in our debate. Smithsonian admits to destruction of thousands of giant human skeletons in early 1900s. If y'all did not know, he literally used this. It's something he found on the World Wide Web, and he believed it. Okay? If you look at the bottom, y'all can't see that. You can't see it. Let me pull it up. World News Daily Report assumes all responsibility for the satirical nature of its articles and for the fictional nature of their content. Right there at the bottom. It says it in black and white. Yes. So, the same guy who's telling you not to believe anything on the World Wide Web was the same guy who used that in the debate with me against evolution. Same guy. Same guy. Now, you would figure at some point that he would reevaluate the way that he goes about doing things. Not at all. In fact, he would do it more often because it took him and Shura about a week or two before they realized what satire is, and that when the website itself says that the content is fictional, that means it's fake. That means they made it up. That means it's not real. Slow learners. But again, these are the same guys that you need to listen to in order to change your life. I can't overstate this, right? I cannot overstate this. The big gripe that G-Man has is that people don't listen to him and take him seriously. True empiricism wants to be taken seriously. If you don't know that the source that you're using is a satirical website and you can't even look it up to make sure before you present it, I have no use for you. Why would I ever think that you... Because people fuck up, right? People make mistakes. People make mistakes. But it's right, it's at the bottom. It's there. He didn't even care to even vet the source. As long as it said what he needed it to say. It's such a level of bias. And then to double down on it makes it even worse. I would never in my life listen to True on shit. Wouldn't trust him to watch a dead cat in the road. Because that's a level of incompetence and ignorance that I am just not familiar with in real life. A really good reason why people shouldn't take G-Man seriously. And so, because people ask me, well, Dragnauct, what do you, would you suggest people debate G-Man? Hell no. Don't waste your fucking time. Go and talk to him, by all means. But that's what you're going to get. Because I took some time to prepare. Me and CRISPR and Rational Mind and Scientist Sam and a bunch of other, we actually sat down and took the time. And this fucker goes and finds a satirical website and some fucking YouTube videos. So no, don't take him seriously. Because he's not taking it seriously. He's not going to actually go in and look at any peer-reviewed sources. He's not going to go and he's going to go find whatever the fuck he wants. Whatever he thinks confirms his bias. Right? So no, you shouldn't take him seriously. Nor True.
Each other. It's like you guys don't think no more. You spend so much time mocking people that you don't think anymore. One of these days, Satan is going to put the idea in your head. Listen to me. Satan is going to put it in your head one day to get a gun and take out a person. It's like in that mass shooting. It's like these school shootings. Atheism does not have a positive conclusion. The conclusion of atheism is to hate anybody who disagrees with you. I don't hate people who disagree with me. I got Muslim friends, Hindu friends, people of various different religions. I even got a friend, I think, that's As a matter of fact, I got a friend that's goth. I got a friend that's a Levian Satanist. I won't go fellowship with them about the Lord, but I consider those people to be friends. And I don't hate them. I'll give them my last dollar. Can you say that about an atheist here on the internet? No. I'm sorry. Because the end game at the end of the day is you guys hate, 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 hate. And if you don't, and if you are not like this, and I'm making a bad conclusion, you're really doing a bad job proving me wrong. Again, what
Because we all need to kiss his ass.
kind of a loving human being would say something like this?
One atheist speaks for all atheists. One Christian speaks for all
Prison
Christians.
is too good for you. You belong in a zoo.
Now, ask him who that person is. Ask him what religious affiliation they have.
How serious are atheists taking all of the issues that's going on in this country with racism and everything?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. True. Thank you. I'm sorry, Wilson. True said that Trump created 50 billion jobs. And then when Nate Brody corrected him on it, whoop, there you go. Expecto removo.
Like, how serious are they really taking these things? I got a good one, and tomorrow I'm actually going to call Google, and I'm going to send that to Google.
Goth is a religion. Have you not seen King Cobra JFS?
And I'm going to bring up everything that's going on in the world. And they got to do something about stuff like this.
He's still sweating.
Because that was not funny at all.
At all.
You claim you're not racist while practicing while practicing racism. You're hypocrites. You can call me all the names you want in the book.
Hypocrisy.
At the end of the day, it is YouTube atheists that are practicing these things. You don't gotta like me. You don't gotta agree with me. You don't like the content on this YouTube channel, stop watching. But
No,
do not allow
I don't
Richard
watch.
Dawkins and the rest of these people to plant the thoughts in your head that you're so good and you're so great that gives you permission to be racist towards other people.
Yeah, because we know how much you care about racism. Oh, that's right. You care about it when you're not being paid to care about it.
Again, Lubis, I'll read this again for you, Lubis, in case you can't read or you didn't.
Is he reading off his sheet? No, he's when he stops and he's looking down, kind of like he is now. He's reading comments. No, he doesn't actually. Ronnie used to do that. Ronnie would have like a notepad or cards and shit, and he would read off, but not G-Man.
Understand what I just showed, so I'll show this again. This is this atheist YouTuber that keeps sending me
Again, how does he know that's even an atheist?
all these harassing emails, and this is what he said to me: prison is too good for you. You belong in a zoo. He's telling a black man who happens to be a Christian on YouTube, who he doesn't like, that prison is too good for me, that I belong in a zoo. Now, let's look at Sabella here. Sabella is not omnipresent. She's not all-knowing, and she doesn't know what I'm going to do tomorrow. But yet, because she does not have the Holy Spirit, and because she's speaking for Satan himself, she says, you attacking Jay's memory and defending Matt Bell's isn't funny either. Let me explain something to you, Jade. I'm sorry, something to you, Sabella. Jade Jade claimed to be a Roman Catholic. Jade has been in more than enough Google Hangouts on my YouTube channel where I can talk about Jade all I want. People can watch the repeat over and over and over and over and over if they want. Her memory, what kind of memory do you think she has? I don't have the same memory about her as you. But don't worry, I'll give you a link and I'll let you come in here and explain why I'm wrong about anything that I
Yeah, and people went in and he started removing them.
said. Because I promise you, everything I say will be backed up with this. You're going to find
Those
yourself
emails are
arguing
from
with
trolls.
Christ.
Interestingly enough, the same group of people who caused him to delete his Marked by God channel.
And all of the alcohol you drink, all of the drugs you snort, all the getting high ain't going to take away the truth of God's word.
I'm thinking this sermon he's already given to some of his family.
It's just not. And I love how all these atheists pretend they actually cared about this woman.
I went to go see her put in the ocean, well, the bay. So I mean, actions speak louder than words.
Do I have to remind these people how what the heck an anti-theist is and what a misotheist is?
That ain't got shit to do with me. Not a goddamn
and what they
thing.
do to Christians.
Ain't got shit to do with me.
It's gonna be a really good show tomorrow.
I'm just gonna make up shit and just throw labels because I don't know a goddamn thing.
I'm gonna point out a lot of hypocrisy.
A lot of hypocrisy
That's going on here on G+.
Freedom! Freedom!
That's why G-Man excuses Shani, Rev and Vaughn for being racist. They stopped practicing it a long time ago and have gone professional.
Long time ago.
Lubis, let me go by this one here. Lubis, that's retarded. Listen to me, okay? He says, GTV, you say we belong in zoos. Yeah. You claim to be
Yeah, actually, G-Man has said that.
animals. I'm not an animal. I claim to be a human.
Okay, so it's okay when you say people belong in zoos, but when someone says you belong in a zoo, then it's bad.
You're coming from the worldview that your great cousins are rats and roaches. What do we do with those things? We put them in zoos, right? I'm claiming to be a human being.
You can claim to be one.
And you know what your evolutionary theory did? They put human beings literally in zoos.
But that wasn't happening before.
You tried to make it, your evolutionary philosophy was directly responsible in the driving force to stop black people from having kids in this country. If that legislation would have passed. A lot of sick stuff happened in this country in the name of evolution.
In the name of evolution. G history, folks. G history.
No, I agree with you, John Dropout. No, I totally understand that. Not all of them. I understand that, John Dropout. I totally understand that.
No, he doesn't.
Okay. So, just take what I'm saying into consideration, atheists. For once in your life, just play with the idea in your head, because I know you're going to do it later anyway. That yes, I do know what's going on in your head. And you do know that God exists. You're just suppressing the truth and unrighteousness. You don't want to hear it. That is why you have one of these in your home and you refuse to read it. And those of you who are atheists that are going to church and are reading this, you ain't going to be an atheist very long. Faith cometh by hearing, and hearing the word of God. Now, I'm going to do something very special for my atheist audience here. Sabella, I hope you're watching this because you're going to need to...
Okay. Yeah, my partner just sent me an email. Dear valued residents, as you probably know, Harris County Judge Lena Hidalgo recently issued the attached order regarding health and safety policy and face coverings. As required by the order, we have adopted the attached health and safety policy setting forth the requirements for compliance with the order. These requirements apply to all employees and visitors. We have been advised that residents constitute visitors to the extent that a resident is not within the confines of his or her apartment. As such, the face covering policy will apply to the leasing office, indoor common areas, and amenity areas unless one of the exceptions set forth in the health and safety policy applies. According to the order, face coverings may include homemade masks, scarves, bandanas, or handkerchief, and Harris County residents should continue to maintain social distancing of at least 6 feet while outside the home. Again, thank you for your continued cooperation and patience during this difficult time. So, it's to let y'all know what's going on here in Houston. Black Guy TV put out something? What'd you put out? Put as a coon. Stop cooning.
Remember, like films.
I might watch this a little later.
Take it to your leader. And I'm not talking about Jesus. I'm talking about the bald-headed one who's obsessed and is a stalker. Pay attention, okay? I'm going to do something very special for the atheist community. I'm going to mention this in my video tomorrow. After I do this pre-trial tomorrow, I am going to allow myself to be put on a hot seat. There are 3 YouTube channels that I will allow this to happen, provided that there are rules that are followed that I'll talk about tomorrow. 3 YouTube channels. Christopher Monty's one, since I actually trust him. Okay?
I'll tell you right now, I'm just going to warn you right now, if Mowdy, for whatever reason, feels like he wants to do that, the second G-Man is not allowed to talk over people and become a petulant child, then Christopher Mowdy is going to join the cult of Dragnauct. It happens instantly like that. I'm not sure how it happens overnight, but the second this petulant child does not get his way, all of a sudden it's a fucking conspiracy.
The other channel's going to be Veckel's channel.
Nope.
Christians are their minds are being changed from this reality, and it's Lubis. I'll read this again for you, Lubis. Jay's memory. Oh, I'm sorry. Jay claims. I'll give you a link, and I'm dealing with Christ. Pretend. Let me go by this. Got that legislation. I do know what's going on. Now I'm going to do something. Who's obsessed and is a stalker. Pay attention, okay? I'm going to do something very special for the atheist community. I'm going to mention this.
I hit the number 1
video tomorrow,
and it went back.
After I do this pre-trial tomorrow, I am going to allow myself to be put on a hot seat. There are 3 YouTube channels that I will allow to actually trust him. Okay? The other channel is going to be Veckel's channel, since I know Veckel's going to be fair. Okay?
Enabler.
Or I'll allow myself to be put on a hot seat on MDD, on Modern Day Debate. Provided that there's 2 moderators.
Well, you don't listen to the one that's on there now, so I don't know why you need 2. Like this, like what kind of sense does this make?
Talk about this tomorrow, and everything I said is subject to change. But I have no
Of
problem.
course it is. It's like no, he's gonna realize that shit. I need somewhere where I can just do whatever the fuck I want, and the other person's held to a standard. God damn it!
Because most of the stuff I'm being accused of is stupid, and it's none of nobody's business. And you'll all see what I mean when I allow myself again to be put on a hot seat, and you're gonna see.
You ain't seen a hot seat yet.
That I'm being hated without cause by these atheists on the internet. Because they keep psychologically telling themselves every single day that
keep psychologically telling ourselves. Remember that.
The same lie. No one's ever provided any evidence for the existence of God.
What the fuck? Like, there's this weird connection between criticisms towards G-Man behavior and as a person, and like what I'm willing to accept as evidence for a belief claim. Like, you notice that like they intertwine in some weird way in his mind. Those 2 are completely separate fucking things, but to G-Man it's the same goddamn thing. Please do not go to Veckel's channel and mention the safe story LG or flag. Oh yeah, he did that last time. Skylar Fiction went on Veckel's and Skylar was like, no, man, you stole a safe. Actually, Drag has it as a super chat thing. And man, G-Man lost his shit and was commanding Veckel to stop it. Stop it. Kick him out. Do it, Veckel. And he's going to flag Veckel's channel because Veckel would not listen.
Mock them, ridicule them in public, and to also believe that Christians and God are the most immoral entities out there. Let me see this here. Hey, how you doing, Wonders Rockadash? Hey, G, not going to stay, but wanted to tell you that Michael Jackson's daughter, I going to play Jesus in 2020 movie. Look it up. What's next? Bless you, bro. All right, man. I'll definitely do that, man. Yeah, definitely. I'd love to get you in a room one day so we can actually talk. So,
enabler.
Again, ladies and gentlemen, I made this video here today to talk about the psychology behind everything that the atheists do on the internet. You're not listening to an idiot. You're not listening to somebody who's stupid. I am fully aware.
Oh, I don't know about that one, Chief. I don't know about that one. If you have to preface your statement that you're not listening to an idiot, you're not listening to someone stupid, and then like if you need to do all that, my man, I got some bad news for you.
Of what these people are thinking, how smart they think they are, and what they're planning on doing in retaliation and all that other stuff.
Ali Fox said, Drag, have you ever considered inviting Veckel to join you on a drag review G-Man video and walk him through the BS? No. I have not, because Veckel isn't actually interested in evaluating claims objectively at any point in time. Every time I talk to him, right, he's already formed an opinion on the matter. That's why he wants to talk about it. And there's not a time that I have engaged with him where he's actually been earnest and honest about that. Even the last time we talked, I want to say last week, I think Deidre was there, and for some weird reason, Veckel doesn't know what the Confederacy fought for in the Civil War. Now, I understand people have different levels of education, got that, but he claimed to have complete ignorance on, other than, well, some of them represented the southern states and they were fighting the northern state, the Union, and yeah, outside of that, he has no knowledge of anything, but he has an opinion about the flag, but he has an opinion, like, it's like, all right, that's interesting, bro. And he does like to play dumb, and he has admitted to troll, and so it's like, you know what? Amongst other things, amongst his position on Trump's racism, amongst his position on B-17, there's not been a time where I've spoken to Veckel where he's been honest with what he believes, what he actually know, like what he's actually studied, and him evaluating things from an impartial standpoint. Like, he gives a lot of lip service, but he doesn't actually do anything. And I even gave some of y'all an example, I think last time, where Veckel was arguing with some of his family members, and some of them were like, well, no, Trump's a bit of a racist, why would I vote for him? And then Veckel said, well, Trump's never been racist ever in his life. And I said, actually, there's a court case where Trump, his father, and his executives were systematically discriminating against black people and other, like, Latinos and shit like that. And so when I showed him the court case, and I showed Veckel that, no, Trump has actually discriminated against the government testers that were sent, and that the executives were the ones who gave him up. A lot of evidence there. The government worked with Trump to fix the issues so he wouldn't be sued. You can look up the case. Veckel then changes the definition of racist in order to escape having to say that he was wrong about a claim. When I say that I don't think that Veckel can be honest, I mean that, right? These are really specific examples that I have where I have gone and tried to have an honest conversation and to honestly do just a mediocre amount of research, and he is just falling flat on his fucking face trying to save face because he can't admit that he was wrong about something. He's quick to go, oh, well, you know, I might not know about this, but you won't actually see him admit that he was wrong, because that takes a bit. That takes a bit of a man to do that, and I don't think that he is. And there are things in private too that he's had interactions with people that I know about, and it reaffirms the notion that Veckel is so far up his own ass that there's a reason why he keeps people like G-Man in his circle. He needs people to reaffirm his bullshit, right? Veckel needs an echo chamber. He feigns interest in trying to evaluate claims. He feigns interest in wanting to hear other people's opinion, but it's a sounding board to put up a facade. And so it is willful ignorance, absolute willful ignorance and bias. So no, I'm not going to waste time on somebody who's half a fucking thinker. I'm just going to be honest with you. Veckel is not somebody that relies on critical thinking at any point in time. Aventus Hermes, another guy, does not rely on critical thought and has no ability to actually check the claims, or no vetting process, right? So when you see people like G-Man find satirical websites, well, he just needed something to confirm what he already thought. But then that goes back to what I was saying at the beginning, where finding things, concocting a fucking conspiracy and then finding little innocuous bits of information that you think confirm it is not how you investigate things, right? That's not a great way of doing it, because you can concoct anything out of anything. But I'm the bad guy for pointing that out. So anyway, I think this is the end of it, actually.
Without me even doing the video yet, because they don't even know what I'm going to do. This is probably going to be live streamed on the Geek Room and some of these other ones and whatnot, because they got nothing better to do. They don't know what.
I have better stuff to do, but it's just fun.
what they're going to allow on their YouTube channels. They have no idea. Because, you know, atheists claim they know it all, don't they?
Who claims?
Anyway, guys, you guys have a good night. You guys have a good night. And remember, atheists, we know that you're pretending that there is no God. You know full well.
Well, you know full well that you struggle with certain thoughts that you just need to accept. Anyway, yeah, that's it. That's it. I'm done. I'm done. I am going to go check on the child and try to get some cleaning up done and actually see what the wife wants for dinner. Because I think she said, I'm actually checking my phone now. I think she might be coming back home because COVID's getting bad again because good old Texas. So, yeah, might be on the Geek Room tomorrow. We'll see. We'll see. I don't think I have anything going on. Well, because I'm done with my first exam for my anatomy course, and then I did the lab exam today, so I'll have some time. But other than that, yeah, no, I think that's it. I think that is it. I am going to go check my email for titty pictures and videos, one of my favorite pastimes, and checking to see if anyone just sent me a regular email, you know, hey Drag, what's going on kind of email. Those are nice sometimes. Those are nice. All right, wash my I'm actually gonna wash my ass. That's a good point. We can do that. That's a good point. Anything else? I know I'm gonna forget something. No, that's it. I'm gonna play y'all out though. We'll do that. See ya. Oh, should I tell? I'll wait to tell y'all that. I'll wait to tell you.
The announcement is this. I'm going to be doing a Google Hangout next Friday. Not today, but next Friday. And that particular Google Hangout will be focused on primarily one thing. I'm asking everyone to bring their own personal rap to this particular Google Hangout.
I'm going to expose myself on YouTube. I'm going to make a YouTube video embarrassing myself.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, I got to tell you about the fabulous, most groovy
G-Man.
You know you're breaking the law right now.
I will stomp a mud hole in you, sir.
I am not playing Dragnauct.
My name is G-Man.
You got the audacity. You're going to jail. You got the audacity.
My name is G-Man.
You got the audacity. That's all I got to say. You got the audacity. I stole $3,000. You got the audacity. You got the audacity. Because you don't got no evidence.
My name is G-Man. My name is G-Man.
So big can this guy be?
My name is G-Man. My name is G-Man.
You can't beat me in fighting. You can't beat me in chemistry. You can't beat me in biology. You can't even walk better than me. You can't outrun me. Dude, you can't even out-talk me. Come to Jersey. Come to Jersey. Come to Jersey. Come to Jersey. Come to Jersey City.
G-Man.
You got the audacity. You're going to jail. You got the audacity.
My name is G-Man.
You got the audacity. That's all I got to say. You got the audacity. I stole $3,000. You got the audacity. You got the audacity. Because you don't got no evidence.
My name is G-Man. My name is G-Man.
So big can this guy be?
My name is G-Man. My name is G-Man.
You can't beat me in fighting. You can't beat me in chemistry. You can't beat me in biology. You can't even walk better than me. You can't outrun me. Dude, you can't even out-talk me. Come to Jersey. Come to Jersey. Come to Jersey. Come to Jersey. Come to Jersey City.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of